The rave scene, a technicolor dreamland filled with throbbing music, non-stop dancing, and often the hallucinogens that make it more surreal. Shrooms, Ecstasy, and PCP are just a few that can mess up your reality for life.
I started going to raves. That's when I started doing ecstasy and hallucinogens.
My third violation when I went to jail, the night before I went to a rave and I was frying.
If someone ODs and you're like, say, in a dealer's house, they're not going to call an ambulance. They're not, because the cops will come and they'll be busted. So if someone dies, they die, and that sucks.
Few are talking about the agony behind the ecstasy and the horrors of permafry and Parkinson's, but the reality is far more frightening than any hallucination. Lanai and Samantha are best friends, and they've done a lot of drugs together.
Ecstasy is
more of a feeling thing.
Yeah,
it's
a
more body
physical.
trip. It's a body, yeah. You feel it more like you're floating, or you just feel like comfortable. You're relaxed.
It has heroin in it.
When it comes to hallucinogens, Dale knows more than he'd like to admit. He's tried almost everything.
I was with a few friends and they had ecstasy, so I did it. It made me fall asleep.
There's a number of what we call designer drugs. One of the best known ones is ecstasy, which is MDMA, methylene dioxymethamphetamine. It's a phenylethylamine, so it's structurally very similar to amphetamines. So it has stimulant-like properties. The problem with MDMA is that there's a number of impurities that are contained in MDMA, which can actually cause irreversible Parkinson's disease. And so we can have people in their teens, early 20s, essentially having the same syndrome that we see in the elderly patients who are much more susceptible to developing Parkinson's. And if this progresses far enough, a person can be totally immobilized.
Shrooms was all new and it was so much stronger. It was more evil. It was more evil fry.
First time I did shrooms, it was at my friend's house, and we were there, and he had a sandwich, and he's like, "Do you want to try shrooms?" I'm like, "I guess so." And he's like, "Here, eat this sandwich." He like put it in with the peanut butter and jelly. So I ate the sandwich, and a little while later, it started coming into effect, and it was like, we were just like tripping.
It's the same dangers as like acid and everything, but you're relaxed. You can like sit without being uncomfortable, and it's
you're not all tense.
You're not all tense stuff, and you feel like you're just like you feel like there's a ton of gravity sitting on top of you. You're just being pushed into the ground.
A common myth among teenagers is that somehow drugs which are found in nature, such as peyote, mescaline, marijuana, are somehow safer than the synthetic drugs, such as PCP and LSD. Now, this is really a myth. There are many substances in nature which are very, very poisonous. Poison mushrooms can cause a very, very terrible death because they cause acute liver failure, and that causes a very slow and excruciating death over several days or weeks. So just because something is naturally occurring, it is not any safer.
You may always fry for the rest of your life.
You might be perma-fried.
That happened to our friend, kept doing it, and he just fried for like 4 months, was it? And he had to go to a mental institution. He's back now, but like he was drooling and like he was perma-fried for 4 months.
People can experience what we call bad trips, where they can be very frightened, and the experiences are very frightening, where people think that they're going to die, they think they're going to go crazy, and occasionally hallucinogens can trigger a psychotic episode where a person cannot come out of this psychotic experience even after the drug wears off. If you stop using drugs, you stop using hallucinogens today, it may take months or sometimes even years to get all the marijuana, all the PCP out that you put into your body.
Herbert Romero is a youth advocate who conquered his own addictions, and now he's helping kids in schools and on the streets.
My drug of choice, and basically, kids know this word, main squeeze. Okay. Drug that basically you entice, you like it. Like it was your best friend. You enjoy it. For me, it was PCP.
Now, what we discovered in the early 70s is that when you use PCP for anesthesia, it works well, but then as a person is emerging from the anesthesia, they begin to hallucinate, and they have all kinds of strange experiences.
Seeing things, hallucinating things. It's like in a desert, you see a mirage. You think you're seeing something that is not there. Basically, it alters everything that is normal in your mind. There was one night that I went under the influence of PCP. I went home. I thought I went to sleep. But when I got up early in the morning, my dad came about and told me, you know what? You was okay yesterday? I said, what you mean? I said, well, you know what? I seen you going around in circles in the living room, barking like a dog.
People on PCP have almost superhuman strengths, and this has resulted in many deaths when police are trying to apprehend them. Since these people, don't know what they're doing, they're not aware of what they're doing. They become very aggressive, very belligerent at times.
There were many times that they thought that I was going to die. My sister used to see me sometimes beat up, and sometimes I was under the influence that she couldn't even recognize me.
I was scared. So like every time I dropped it before, I was like, God, this could be the last time I'm ever normal, because there's always the chance that you'll never come back. There's always that chance.
Yeah.
And so I'm always thinking, this could be the last time I'm ever normal again.
Although Dale's dad was able to stay out of jail, he's been trapped in a private hell as a result of his drug abuse.
I was a user for years, and I talked to him about it before he started using. And I've showed him examples of friends that I had, and I had friends in prison, and I was really straight with him and talked to him, and I was devastated when I found out he was actually using.
Before I used, I went to a private school. Everything was great, had good grades. Parents totally respected me, trusted me, everything. Then after I started doing drugs, slowly everything went downhill, starting with grades. And then that led to something worse and just kept going on until I was scraping bottom. My parents took the door off of my room. I guess it was after the first time I ever got caught, I started getting into a lot of trouble. I ran away from home. I got caught shoplifting a lot of times, and just grades went totally down.
I wanted to be a cop. First with Highway Patrol, and from Highway Patrol, become LAPD. From LAPD, I wanted to become a narc or private detective. So I had a vision.
And you suddenly notice that you have 9 assignments to do. What's going to happen?
When I look ahead, I don't see anything. And I used to see a lot of stuff before I did drugs. I used to see, well, I'm going to be a teacher, I'm going to be a mommy, blah, blah, blah. And now I'm just like, the farthest I can see is graduation. And that's in 4 months. And that's all I can see in the future is graduation. And probably not even that the way I'm going.
I don't want to put any more poisons into my brain than I already have. I could have been so much smarter if I would have studied instead of done drugs and everything like that.
Ditch school to
Ditch
do
school,
speed.
yeah.
I could be so much more than I am now. Because I could have graduated on time. I was getting really good grades. I was getting straight A's and then boom, drugs, F's.
You can't be successful and do drugs at the same time. It just doesn't happen. And for that reason, I don't think it's worth it at all.
I just think I could have done much better if I would have stayed at home, stayed off the drugs, went to school, went to college, and built a good career. And I think I would be better off, you know. As it is now, I work for a factory. The factory closed, and I'm 38 years old and building a new career, you know. And I think I would be much better off if I wouldn't have used drugs.
Now it's very important, including myself, I'm not off the hook, who I associate with, who I hang around with. Look at who you're trusting.
Started making more friends that just were like real friends, not just like, hey, come over and, you know, share a bong load or something. And they're like real friends that'll do anything for me. And I started to realize, you know, this is what life is. I've been sober 76 days. I feel pretty good to be sober, clean and sober. When people tell you that your attitude is changed by drugs, they think, well, no, it's not going to happen to me. And that's exactly what I thought. And it does happen. Your attitude always changes. It's just like, it's from a really good point to like an I don't care.
It altered my life. It diverted my life totally. It changed my whole lifestyle. Everything that I wanted, it ripped it apart.
I'm scared a lot. It scares me a lot because like, if I don't graduate on time, my family's gonna look down on me. If I don't like get through school, I can't go to college, I can't get a good job. I mean, God. I mean, like as of right now, it's like my future looks so blank to me.
Looking back now, my life was trashed. And I have a lot of evidence within myself to know that it was because of the drugs. Because as soon as I got off the drugs, things started going up for me. I started working in school. I started gaining my trust back from my parents.
Drugs are part of my life forever. Even though I haven't used, I'm a former drug user, no matter it's part of my life, it haunts me all the time. You pull your guards down, you go back.
I just saw how good other people were doing being sober, and then I looked at my life, and I compared their life to mine. I said, which place do I want to be?